guys, it's your boy, Barça Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past few days where we do have some big topics to discuss. Firstly, Nico Williams saga, you thought that was over? Hell no, it is back on, it's still going, and Barcelona is still showing interest in Nico Williams, and Nico Williams still showing interest in a potential move as well. We will discuss all those details and how this could of course end up being the same situation as last summer into the new summer of 2025. Secondly, with the new summer coming around, of course, the club are going to be targeting some free agents, and right now the two main ones are going to be both Germans in Joshua Kimmich and Jonathan Tah. We'll discuss those potential options. Also the option of Adrien Rabiot, who is still a free agent right now, and that Barcelona do like the player's profile, they like the player's interest as well, but his wage demands are just too ridiculous. We'll talk about that as well. Some other general news, some big injury updates around the international break, and finally some big contract renewal updates as well around Marc, Bernal, Frankie de Jong, Christensen, Eric Garcia, and mainly around Ronald Araujo. How Joan Laporta has been speaking to Luis Suarez, El Pistolero, to get information on the Araujo renewal to help, of course, make Araujo's renewal possible as well. Luis Suarez is helping the club, trying to convince the other Uruguayan to commit his future to Barcelona. We will discuss that in detail, of course. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get to 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. Also, if you're new, make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get into this video is sponsored by Number One Foot. Number One Foot is by far the best replica jersey website on the market, and it's not even close. They have a variety of different items at the absolute best prices. They sent me two kits recently. First one is the retro Barcelona kit, the home kit, which I'm currently wearing right now, and also as well the second kit for that season in the blue edition. Oh my god, like the stitching is fantastic, the quality is, superb. Feels like I have the actual, original kit for a fraction of the price. And if you use the discount code BOY at checkout, you do get 10% off your order. That's BOY. Use it at checkout, and all orders above $80 as well will receive free shipping. So what are you waiting for? Hit the top link in the description down below and get your new football kits today. Let's firstly start off with the transfer news over the past few days. Firstly, we have been linked with a free agent that we could sign tomorrow if we wanted to, and that is Adrien Rabiot. He was bashed by Didier Deschamps for still being a free agent, which, to be honest, at the level of he was at, during the Euros, being a star for France and being important for Juventus, he still was at a club. It is low-key embarrassing, but Fernando Polo from Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Rabiot is on Barcelona's radar, but his economic demands are high, with the Frenchman demanding around 10 million euros net per season. He can only come if he lowers his demands, or if Barcelona suffer another long-term injury in the midfield and maybe get desperate. So again, we have been linked with Rabiot since 2018. Remember when we tried to sign him and Frankie de Jong, that we chose him over Frankie? Everyone lost their minds, and Bartomeu flew to convince de Jong to join. The rest is history. So we've been linked with Rabiot for a long time. For me personally, I think he's a good midfielder. I don't think he's someone to bend over backwards for. That's probably why he's still without a club to this day. Would I take him as depth? I mean, sure, but for 10 million net, you're having an absolute laugh. I would pay him, like, since he's a free agent, maybe like 5, 4, 10. That's pushing, the salary of Jules Koundé and, Rafinha. They're earning 10 million net, week in, week out starters who've been at Barcelona for a few years now, not coming in as a free agent. Again, he has a very bad reputation, Rabiot, with his mother being his agent. She always tries and asks, for quadruple his market value. So we'll see. Again, I kind of want to keep the drama away from Barcelona as well. So maybe that'd be another factor why I wouldn't want to sign him. If we do it on the cheap, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But again, the club are monitoring Rabiot. He is a top quality player that is still for free, but his demands financially are just completely wide of the mark. Now, a player who Barcelona were chasing all summer long, didn't end up signing him, but we'll probably be back for him this coming summer, June 2025. It's your boy Nico Williams, and as I predicted, I told you guys back in the beginning of July, if we don't sign Nico Williams this summer, best believe we will twerk for him again next summer. This for me screams Antoine Griezmann. When we begged him to join, he said no, did his whole entire documentary. Next summer, he twerked for us, we paid the release clause, and he joined. I think the Nico Williams situation and, scenario is very similar to that of Antoine Griezmann back in 2019, 2020. Mateo Merito, of course, top sources come out saying that Nico Williams saga could resurface later on as Barcelona still remains strongly interested. A deal didn't happen due to financial and personal preference. Williams chose to stay, expressing his, excitement about playing for Athletic Club in Europe again, with the Europa League final being held at the San Mamés this year. Let's pray to God Athletic Club don't get there. That'd be absolutely hilarious. Barcelona could still be an option next summer. Chelsea inquired about him but didn't propose anything due to the salary demands. Arsenal also inquired about him but didn't make any move, while reports suggested an offer from Aston Villa, though that is still unconfirmed. So Barcelona, the only club that actually talked to Nico Williams, that told Bilbao will activate the release clause, that agreed personal terms. All the other clubs showed interest. In the end, nothing was fulfilled. I'll say this before, I said this during July, I'll say it again, if his release clause is the same, 60 million, we will be back in for him 100%. If he renews his contract and his release clause increases to 100, we're not going to be back in for him. If he renews his contract, to increase his wages for staying, but his release clause stays the same, we will be back in for him. As long as his price is the same, or of course cheaper, we will be back in for him in the summer, no doubt. The question now is, would you take Nico Williams a year later? That's the question I'm seeing a lot on the timeline. People are saying that, Rafinha is playing well. Oh, Nico said no. Since he said no to Barcelona, he's been performing well for Bilbao, which is all true, but he's just too perfect for what we need. Again, the price a year later is still pretty good. I'm still undecided. I think I would go for Nico Williams. If you don't want to, it's kind of like, with the saga last summer. If you want to get him, cool. If not, whatever. Nico Williams falls into the category of, about 7 or 8 players that I really, really, really want to see at Barcelona. From the likes of Bernardo Silva, Matthias de Ligt, Marco Verratti from back in the day. I can go on and on about players that I just really wanted to see at Barcelona. Some, of course, came true, like Jules Koundé, for example, a player that I really, really wanted to see. Frankie de Jong, a player I really, really wanted to see. Those are the last 2 players that I was like, oh my god, get them to Barcelona. Of course, Bernardo Silva was one of them as well, but that fell through. Nico Williams is another one as well. Now, Tony Juan Marti came out saying that Nico Williams was Barcelona's main target in the summer. His recent statement suggests that the story is not over. Laporta's speech also suggests that he has no desire to upset or, offend Athletic Club, but in 9 months' time, anything can change, of course. I think we're going to be in for him. As long as the release clause, again, is the same, the price, the conditions is the same, Barcelona will be back in for him. Now, the question is, what will happen with Lewandowski? Because Lewandowski's got one more season in him, then we can, delay a signing of a top striker, because if the top striker becomes a priority next summer, then how are we going to sign a top striker for, 80 million, 90 million, then Nico Williams for 60 million on top of that? We'll see. Again, depends also on Barcelona getting back to the 1-1 rule, which again they want to do in October. I don't know. We will see. But like I said, I think we probably all saw this coming from a mile away. The Nico Williams saga is far from over, and Barcelona still remain interested. I think Nico Williams as well is still interested in the move. I think it comes down to conditions being the same or if they changed, and of course Barcelona's financial needs if they still have the money for it. So we'll see how things develop over the next few months, but no doubt the Nico Williams saga is far from over. Now, speaking about the summer transfer window of 2025, of course, now is the time for Barcelona, which they tend to do, look at the free agent market. Last summer was the first summer we did not sign a free agent under Joan Laporta's new regime. Of course, the first summer, we got Eric Garcia, Agüero, Memphis Depay. Summer after that, we got Christensen, technically Bellerin, and Kessié. Summer after that was Inigo, Gundogan. And then this last summer, we didn't really do anything. But again, we're back in the market for free agents. And we talked about this, of course, during the summer transfer window in Jonathan Tah. Now, Fernando Polo Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona wants to sign Jonathan Tah as a free agent, has already communicated this to his agent, Pini Zahavi. The player has made it clear that he won't renew with Bayer Leverkusen, and it's now up to Barcelona to convince him, since they won't be the only club that's going to be trying to sign him as a free agent. Now, if you think about it, Inigo's contract is about to expire. Let him go for free, bring someone for free, makes sense. The only issue I have with Jonathan Tah, he's right-footed. We have so many right-footed center backs. It would be great if he was left-footed, but he isn't, and I feel like we're going to go into next season with no left-footed center back, but that's next season. We'll talk about it then. But again, the club are still showing strong interest, and of course, as they mentioned, he's confirmed that he's going to be leaving Bayer Leverkusen. He said this in an interview on German national team duties, saying that I'm not going to be signing a new deal with Bayer Leverkusen. My decision is already made. I give my best until the end here, and then we will see what my future club will be. But my decision is in fact to go and try a different experience. So again, he's already confirmed that he's not going to be renewing his contract with Bayer Leverkusen, so he will be a free agent. Of course, in the comments down below, let me know your thoughts on Jonathan Tah as a free agent. Would you go for it or not? Again, for me personally, I like the player, I like the profile, especially if Hansi Flick's still the manager next season. I wouldn't mind it whatsoever. My only issue is we have so many already right-footed center backs at the club. We're gonna have no left-footed option next summer, according to like this plan, to let go of Inigo for free, essentially use his wages of 100,000 euros per week ish, give to Jonathan Tah. Essentially, it's basically a swap deal. Again, center back wise, I wouldn't mind, but just the foot preferably that I have the issue with. But it's probably not, you know, the biggest of deals in the world. So we'll wait and see. But again, Barcelona are eyeing yet another free agent this summer, and it is Jonathan Tah. Now, another German player who Barcelona are also eyeing on a free transfer this summer, June 2025, is Joshua Kimmich, a player that we have been talking about for about 2 or 3 years now. We've always been interested because his contract was winding down, and now it's winding down to the point that he will be for free. Fernando Polo Deportivo came out saying that Kimmich's contract expires in 2025, and so far he doesn't want to renew. Bayern Munich want to keep him and will fight to do so until the end. Kimmich is considering trying a new adventure in another league. Barcelona's interest in him is very real, but other big clubs are also watching him closely, including Real Madrid. There also are reports suggesting that Manchester City and Arsenal are also interested. He will be one of the best free agents available in 2025. Alongside him, Mo Salah, Van Dijk, Trent is going to be a huge one as well. The question is, do Barcelona need Kimmich? I think Kimmich is very much similar to the profile of Frankie de Jong. Hopefully by the summer, Frankie de Jong's contract situation is sorted out, whether he's going to stay or leave. So, you know, if he wants to leave, you sell Frankie next summer for like 60 million. You bring in Kimmich for free as a replacement. That's banging. But if we do keep de Jong, you do keep Gavi, you keep Pedri, you have Bernal, you have Casado. Do you still bring Kimmich on top of that? Is the question. For me personally, I don't know, because you don't want to have too much of an overstock. Of course, he's going to be coming as a free, so he's going to want a lot of wages as well. You want to maybe use him as a right back? That could be an option as well. Have as an inverted fullback. Him and, you know, Koundé could be competing for a spot potentially. Again, we do have now. I think it really depends on how Casado does. If Casado does well this season, we just might bank Kimmich completely and not even waste our time with it. If he does poorly, you might maybe loan out Casado, bring in Kimmich for free, or you might even just cut your losses with Casado. I think the future of Casado does have a lot of complications on Kimmich alongside Frankie de Jong as well, but I feel like Frankie de Jong will renew, so I'm keeping that kind of mindset in my mind. But again, Kimmich as a free, of course, you take it absolutely 100%, but we'll wait and see how he fits in the squad, and also, what's more importantly, the demand of the wages with Kimmich. Because with Tah, it will be easier. We have Pini Zahavi, him and Laporta sleep in bed all the time. He's one of the reasons why we signed Lewandowski in the first place 2 years ago. But with Kimmich, of course, I believe he's his own agent. I don't think he has an agent. I think he's self-represented, like Rafinha is, like Kevin De Bruyne with Man City is as well. So his demands will probably be quite high, so that will of course have some implications as well. So wait and see. But Barcelona are in fact keeping an eye on Joshua Kimmich as a potential free agent signing this upcoming summer in 2025. Let's now discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. We firstly have a general update on what the club's plan is going forward with key players needing contract renewals. Now, Fernando Polo Deportivo came out saying that Inigo Martinez, Ronald Araujo, Andreas Christensen, Eric Garcia, and Frankie de Jong must either renew or Barcelona will put them on the transfer market this upcoming summer/January. So these are the 5 players that Barcelona want to, sort out their futures. Again, with Inigo, I think it really comes down to how he plays, how his fitness is, what Hansi Flick fancies of him as well. Of course, with Tah as well, you originally pretty good with Tah, then let go of Inigo. I think those two kind of go together. Eric Garcia, Christensen, Araujo, Frankie, of course, but also keep in mind as well, Gavi and Pedri, both their contracts as well expire in 2026, but I feel like the club are very confident that they will renew. That's why they don't really want to put too much stipulation on them. These players are the ones they're thinking what's gonna happen really. We do have a huge update on the renewal of Ronald Araujo, and that's why of course he was in the thumbnail, because Fernando Polo of Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona asked Luis Suarez, El Pistolero, about Ronald Araujo. Suarez told Laporta that Araujo was seriously considering the offer from Bayern Munich about a year ago. The danger was real because more than the money, he wanted to compete for big titles. Hold the phone. Winning the Bundesliga every year is not competing for titles. That's number 1. Number 2, losing in the semifinals and quarterfinals to Real Madrid every single year is not competing as well. What is the difference between Barcelona and Bayern Munich? I'm very curious. Apart from Bayern Munich offering you more money, which I'll hold my hands up, they probably will. What is the difference between Barcelona and Bayern Munich sportingly. I think we have very even chances to win the Champions League going into the tournament. I mean, our manager's Hansi Flick, there's this bloody Vincent company. They win the Bundesliga every year. Just last season was just a bit of a blip. We at least challenge for the league, so there's a bit of, excitement, entertainment. You have, of course, the Copa and the Super Cup. You have the Pokal and the other one for Germany, which they kind of win consistently unless it's a big shock. What is the difference? None, in my opinion. Anyways, Barcelona met with his agent and told them that they wanted to renew Araujo to form a winning project. But months later, the center back still has not responded. The club then consulted Luis Suarez again after speaking with Luis and pulling other strings. Barcelona began to suspect that Araujo had not received all the details about the club's offer, and then Laporta decided to act in person. The president spoke directly with Araujo and explained to him that the offer that Deco had made to his agent and the project that they planned for the short and medium term. All of this so that he would have no doubts about the club wanting to count on him. Hold the phone again. How are you making an offer to a player and it's difficult to reach the player? Araujo released a Barcelona 1 documentary back in March. He's there twerking, having fun with Joan Laporta. You're telling me he sent him a renewal offer and he had no idea about the details of it? Barcelona, eh? Bloody hell. Shout out to Pizarro though, my brother, giving us the inside sources, helping us out as well. Forever a Barcelona legend, the greatest striker to ever play for this club. Eto, Romario, Rivaldo, whoever you want to say, Paco Alcácer, they ain't got nothing on El Pistolero. If it's this complicated with Araujo, what's happening with Frankie de Jong? That's its own stratosphere of a situation. Look, with Araujo, for me, I've been consistent. I would love to renew him. I think he's a fantastic defender that's a few tweaks away from his game from being the undisputed best center back in the world. But I mean, if he has doubts about the project, he can F off. I mean, honestly, he's not a player that I'm going to bend over for. He's not a player I'm going to twerk for and beg to stay. If he wants to leave, he can take a hike. He's not a player that you twerk for. It's not, like a Pedri, a Gavi, a Lamine Yamal. He's not that kind of player. He's not. So we offer him a fair contract. Of course, he deserves a pay raise because we offered him a very low contract when he renewed in 2022 because we had no money. He said, you know what, I'll take the low pay now, big pay later, no problem. I would offer Araujo, I would say, in the region of 180 to 200,000 euros per week. I think he's definitely worth that when fit, of course. I would definitely put a clause in there that when you're injured, your wages get cut in half because you're injured so consistently. If he says no to that, game is game. Chuck him in the bid, try to sell him this summer for about 50 million, grab your money and walk away. So we'll see with Araujo. I think again the club do really want to renew him. He's made it quite clear that he wants to stay. Again, he's the fucking second captain. He is one Ter Stegen departure away from being the Football Club Barcelona captain. You can't get much higher status than that, really. So if all of this and he still has doubts, chuck him in the bin. We'll wait and see what happens with Araujo, but again, it's been complicated. It's not been the easiest renewal in the world, but the club are still working on it, and Araujo has not really given a definitive answer yet, alongside the other players here as well. I don't think Barcelona have made any approach to Christensen quite yet. They have, of course, made an approach with Frankie de Jong, and Eric Garcia is quite unknown yet, but a lot of big players for Barcelona's contract expire in 2026, which means that this summer, it's clear. Renew or sell. Now, staying on the topic very quickly of contract renewals, we do have a quick update on the renewal of Marc Bernal, with Marc coming out saying the discussions will begin next week regarding Marc Bernal's new contract. Again, the club wanted to reward with the contract despite his ACL to give him confidence and motivation ahead of his recovery, and on his recovery as well. He will be undergoing surgery at some point next week. Again, that's 2 weeks. He's supposed to have his surgery this week at some point, but it hasn't been done yet, which means it's going to be happening next week, which means, again, the ACL tear is quite severe because, again, when it's very, inflamed and bruised, you cannot operate. You have to wait for the inflammation to go down a bit. So the fact that it's still bruised and the fact that the surgery hasn't happened yet just shows how severe this tear actually was. But again, at this point, we know he's going to be out for a year. It doesn't really matter if he has the surgery this week or next week. Of course, hopefully the month of September, he'll have the surgery. If he doesn't, then there's serious alarm bells. But we'll wait and see on that, and we'll also wait and see how things do progress with his contract renewal. Again, the same thing kind of happened with Gavi when he tore his ACL. Oh, he tore his ACL. He wanted to renew his contract and help him out. Bernal is younger, so he might be more cooperative, where Gavi, of course, wants to sit down, really talk, numbers, logistics, and image rights and all that stuff. But we'll see with Bernal. Again, the club are very optimistic. They do want to renew his contract to help, push and motivate his ACL recovery. Let's now discuss some of the injury updates around the first team at Barcelona. Firstly, the most exciting one, of course, the return of Ansu Fati, Fernando Polo Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Hansi Flick awaits Ansu's return against Girona in a week's time. The forward is facing the final part of his recovery, and if he's all progressing without setbacks next week, the idea for him is to be included in the squad list for Sunday's match. Right now, he is on track to be in that squad list, pending, of course, no setback, no relapse. I'll tell you what, man, there's a relapse. He ain't surviving the hood. He ain't surviving the hood. The fact that he already got injured pissed me off. That's why I sold my stocks in Ansu. But if he gets a relapse, all these Twitter accounts and Instagram and, you know, all these fan pages are going to have to hold the fattest L ever. But I hope not. I really, really do. So we'll wait and see what happens with Ansu Fati's recovery. But he is expected to be in the squad list a week today, Sunday the 15th, against Girona. The next injury update is on RL9. Robert Lewandowski, who did confirm he had some bit of a discomfort in his last match for Poland, I believe against Scotland. He was doing some, press work after the game, said that I felt some discomfort and there was some pain, and I realized that if I took the risk today, tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, it could be much worse. For the good of the team and for my health, the decision was made to leave the field. The season is very demanding. I could have play up to 70 games, so I need to manage my strength and energy wisely. So he had a bit of a knock. We'll wait and see if he plays the second game for Poland and how he recovers and comes back to Barcelona. But he's just saying it's just some pain, nothing too serious, and hopefully that is the case. Now, we do have some other news in regards to Lewandowski, and that is, of course, his stock inside Barcelona is rising tremendously. Marc have come out saying that Lewandowski has left many members of the board speechless. Keep in mind, the board, a lot of members of the board wanted to sell him this past summer. The club, which were open to his exit in the summer due to his age and his high salary, is now amazed by his performances, commitment, and as well as his gesture to adjust his contract to help with FFP. Man of the people, man. Man of the people. Love me, Robert Lewandowski. Absolute legend. Not quite yet at the club, but, you know, legend in my books for what he's done so far at the club. Wait and see how he does recover post-international break. Hopefully nothing too serious. The next injury update we have is on Dani freaking Olmo. I tell you what, man. De La Fuentes, I've had it up to here with this bald prick. And I know he's doing his job, but I'm still pissed. I've had it up to here with him. And I'm about to fly to Spain and give him a proper backhand slap to the face. Now, he was doing a presser for Spain ahead of their next match. I forget who they play, Switzerland, I think. He's asked about Dani Olmo. He was subbed off in their game against Serbia. He said that, look, Dani Olmo took a hard hit in the last game, and we don't know how he'll feel by the next match. He didn't train with us yesterday, so everyone got worried. There were some tests. I'll give you guys an update on the tests right now. Tests were fine. Just a knock. Fernando Martinez came out and said that tests on Dani Olmo's knee have confirmed that it's only suffered a strong blow, nothing more. He will not play for Spain against Switzerland as a precaution. So that's, of course, a good thing. Just played against Serbia, about 80 minutes. Nice week off for him after the blow. We take it. Now, he also talked about Lamine Yamal on the minutes he's playing too much. And he said this: it's lucky that we have a player of such level that plays so many games for the national team. If you can't play 180 minutes in September, turn it off and let's go. We represent our country and play to win. From his point of view, he's absolutely spot on. From a Barcelona point of view, I'm freaking fuming. He's about to play another 90 minutes for Switzerland, isn't he? Now, man. Listen, if I'm the manager of England, I'm going to rinse every English player I have to win every single game, because that's my job. I don't care what he does at Real Madrid, Man City, United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool. I don't care. I'm focused on England. My best team, I'm playing them. You're tired, buddy? Okay, you sit on the bench. Unless they tell me something, I'm doing it. So I understand completely where De La Fuente is coming from, but it's just, as a Barcelona fan, because, you know, the Barcelona carry the national team, whether you like it or not. Look at the past history. That's called football heritage. Look at their Euros team that won last summer, the Euro team that won in 2012, the World Cup squad, the Euro team in 2009. Says enough. Barcelona carry the national team. So from a Barcelona fan, seeing these players get rinsed every single super freaking international break, getting knocks and stuff, and then hindering us, who of course we paid their salary, we paid the $60 million to RB Leipzig to get Dani Olmo. That's what pisses me off. But great man once said, game is game, you can't do much about it. So Lamine Yamal gonna be rinsed by De La Fuente, and we'll wait and see what happens with Dani Olmo. Hopefully everyone just comes back from the international break, survives with no injury. Let's discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past few days. First, we do have some quotes here from Vitor Roque. First time he's spoken since his Barcelona exit last summer, of course, on loan to Real Betis. He was asked about his time at Barcelona. He said, look, it was complicated in general. I thought it was going to be different. I had some opportunities, but not in the way I thought I would. Fair enough. He was then asked about working with a psychologist during his time at Barcelona, saying, look, I've always gone to therapy and had a mental coach. It's helped me a lot since I was 16 to overcome obstacles. But in Europe, it's tough, especially when you leave so young for a big club. He's asked on his struggles finally at Barcelona, saying that sometimes you don't see what really happens inside, how people treat each other. It's hard, and my head wasn't always in the right place. But now my mind is at peace, and that's what matters the most. So again, this ain't Little League, right? This is peak of professional football. Barcelona, and you could maybe say Real Madrid. You can't get much higher than that. So again, coming at a young age, making that move, sometimes it works out. Look at Neymar, look at Vinicius, look at Rodrigo. It happens. Sometimes it doesn't happen. And again, there's a lot of examples of that not happening as well for Real Madrid and Barcelona. So hopefully that's the opposite for Vitor Roque. Hopefully this loan at Betis will help him to do well and return to Barcelona, and we can see the quality that we do know that Vitor Roque does have. But again, it's quite clear he did struggle a lot. I honestly think that red card against Alaves did not help him at all. That really killed his momentum. And of course, Xavi's jaw was at high risk, high scrutiny. So I think the red card played a lot into it. Then of course the aftermath after that kind of had a snowball effect. So we'll see how Vitor Roque returns to Barcelona in the future, if he does or not. Let's hope that he does have a very successful loan at Betis this season, except against Barcelona, of course. Now, in other news, Barcelona do have still a tiny bit of a registration issue, which they do want to resolve, of course, before the January transfer window. Fernando Polo and Gabriel Sanz, the Mundo Deportivo, came out saying that Pau Victor is actually in the same situation as Dani Olmo in terms of registration. The forwards only registered until December 31st of this year. Barcelona had to generate more fair play space to register them in January. The player and his entourage are calm. They know that Barcelona will be able to register him and Dani Olmo in January. So not only is Dani Olmo only registered for December 31st, but also Pau Victor as well, which shows how much FFP is really, finessed us in the arse. But again, as a great man once said, game is game. It is what it is, and hopefully we do resolve that. Again, simply announcing and reaching an agreement for the Nike renewal will bring us back, no problem. So hopefully the club do return to the 1-1 rule by the January international January transfer window. If that's the case, registration will not be an issue whatsoever, and even signings won't be an issue. But until then, we're going to be under massive scrutiny. Now, speaking about the players on the pitch, we do have an update on the captaincy situation that's going on right now. Of course, with Ter Stegen being the captain as the goalkeeper, he won't be able to protest and communicate to the referee that the whole entire game. That's when the club have to announce another captain on the pitch to speak with the referee. And we know now for the start of the season, it's been Rafinha. Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Rafinha is chosen as the first team captain delegate on the pitch, which allows him to be the only one to speak to the referee apart from the captain. Which allows him to be the only player on the team to speak to the referees apart from the captain. Now, once Araújo and De Jong come back, it's going to be different because they're going to be on the pitch, so they can go and communicate to the referee wherever the foul is, penalty, free kick, and communicate the decision, challenge it, whatever the case may be. Only when Ter Stegen is in goal will someone else have to speak. Now, when Frankie and Araújo also return, if Ter Stegen's in goal and Araújo or Frankie is starting, they'll be the ones speaking ahead of Rafinha. Rafinha will only speak to the referee if all these four players do not perform on the pitch. Of course, Pedri will come into play only if there's no Araújo, no De Jong, no Rafinha, and Ter Stegen is in or not in goal. So, I mean, at this point, you're probably going to say, oh, let's give the captaincy to someone else. But Barcelona, you really respect the longevity and the dedication to the football clubs. That's why it's going to be a bit rude, a bit disrespectful, you could say, to take the captaincy off Ter Stegen just to make it easier on the pitch to talk to the referee. That's not really the point. But again, I think a lot of teams will be doing this in La Liga, so not really surprised. But again, Rafinha is not like the captain on the pitch throughout the whole entire season. This will change once Frankie and Araújo do return to the squad. Again, Rafinha will only speak if both those two players are not on the pitch. And of course, Pedri will take over if the three players in Araújo, Frankie, and Rafinha are not on the pitch. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss for the end of this video is in regards to the new away kit sales, which of course are doing absolute numbers. Memorabilia on Twitter came out saying that they're selling the best selling kits for the 24-25 away jerseys are as follow: Lamine Yamal number 1, Pedri number 2, and Lewandowski number 3. Very interesting. No Gavi there, which is quite a surprise. But Lamine Yamal, of course, dominating the numbers. This is why his number change was important from 27 to 19. But again, the away kit is doing numbers in terms of sales. I have not gotten mine quite yet. It's going to come in very soon. Hopefully, I'll have it in by the time we do play for it, so I can wear it on the live stream and for the match review. But the kit is beyond sexy. This home and away kit combo is one of the best I've seen as a Barcelona fan. I think that one, and of course, the 2020 2021, the first season under Koeman. Those two were the best I've experienced, just based on design, of course. They're, of course, going to be iconic kits because of what we've done in them. They kind of look, alright, but what we've done in them makes it look better and sexier, and oh, look at that kit. But just based on looks, this is one of the best I've seen this season in terms of our kit launch. And by the way, of course, the third kit should be released by the end of this month. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past few days. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below and in the comments down below as well. Let me know your thoughts on everything we discussed. The main thing, firstly, of course, is your thoughts on Nico Williams. Would you go back in from or not under the same conditions? Second, your thoughts on the free agents of Kimmich and Tah. Would you sign one of them, both of them, either of them? Thirdly, on Rabiot, would you go around him, talk to his mom about his price and maybe try, convince him to lower his wages? Find your thoughts on the renewals, of course, of Araújo, Frankie, Christensen, Eric Garcia. What are your thoughts? Who do you think we will end up renewing, and who do you think we'll end up not renewing? And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barça.
Yeah.